Good evening, everyone. Before I get started, I just wanted to say what an honor it is to be up here and speaking in front of you all today. I'm going to be talking about the F word, feminism. And because that word is so loaded, it can garner a lot of mixed reactions. And this wide variety of reactions, swinging radically from positive to negative, from demure to violent, exists because of the view that society has on it. A view that has been changed, diluted, and sometimes even vilified by media, anti-feminists, and extreme feminist radicals. Firstly, to humor all my fellow IB students and teachers, I'm going to define some key terms. Merriam-Webster defines feminism as the belief that men and women should have equal rights and opportunities, and the theory of the political, economic, and social equality of the sexes. And the key word there is equality. Equality is defined as the quality or state of having the same rights, social status, etc. When drafting my talk, I quickly began to realize how many directions I could take this in, so I kind of decided to just tackle media as I see it. I'm a very active feminist personally, online especially. I'm always reading feminist articles, and yes, even anti-feminist articles, to see the argument on a different side and from a different perspective, and even posting material of my own. I also worked with a feminist organization on sexual assault and brought them to CPA last year for a presentation about sexual assault, rape, and the importance of consent. Feminism really ascended into the public eye after second wave feminism in the 1960s and trying to get women the right to vote. However, with the rise of social justice warriors, or SJWs, and something known colloquially as internet feminism, the term has been associated with over-aggressive and overly sensitive activists and has falsely changed the perceived definition of modern-day feminism, causing the very violent reactions that this term tends to receive. It is unfortunate when the core ideals benefit everyone on this planet, but there's just so much muck that we see that it completely hides the true picture. So my goal today is not to try and convince you to take on that title, because that in itself is a very personal decision. My goal is to explain to you what the term means, and just to hopefully dismantle a lot of the stigma that has built up around it. First and foremost, one of the central trends we saw circulating the internet was the Twitter hashtag #KillAllMen and all men must die, and this notion that all men are evil. And this is probably the biggest and most well-known misconception there is. The ultimate goal of feminism is equality, and killing one specific demographic is not equality. It's actually the complete contradiction of that statement. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of this hashtag going around. Even though it did identify the more privileged of the two sexes, it did not at all condone the egalitarian and utopian ideals that truly encompasses feminism. As an extension of this, feminists do not think they are better than men. This is another one of those blatant lies. I do not know how many times I've had to redefine the word feminism in a conversation, but it's basically synonymous with the word equality. It's the same. They mean the same thing. We cannot and do not fight for equality, all while saying we're better. Secondly, feminists don't hate makeup. That one's just not true at all. I'm wearing makeup right now, and I am a feminist. The thought process behind this is that women, or anyone for that matter, should not be pressured by society into wearing makeup in order to be pretty, and should not be labeled as ugly when they don't. There is a pressure on women especially to wear makeup. The Daily Mail UK says 2/3 of British women wear makeup to attract the opposite sex. Over half of women say they feel better with makeup on, and 28% lack confidence without it. An alarming 14% would not even leave the house with a bare face. Stylecaster reports that the percentage of women that consider themselves beautiful has doubled since 2004, but this still stands at a measly 4%. Society says when they wear too much, they're fake, and when they don't wear enough, they're ugly. Makeup just poses an oxymoronic contradiction and is just a lose-lose situation for everyone. What should be dismantled is the traditional expectations for women to wear makeup, and the traditional expectation that men should not. Everyone should be allowed to wear makeup, but no one should be expected to. and everyone is beautiful with or without it. Unlike first and second wave feminist activists, who were actively refuting the idea of the housewife and the dependent lady, modern day feminists don't hate femininity and domesticity. We don't hate tradition. It has become more of a celebration of all kinds of femininity and any path of life a woman wants to take, whether it be a choice of career, domesticity, or both. They can exist at the same time. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Stay-at-home mom, emergency ward surgeon, martial artist, or a CEO. And we are seeing the effects of this. The percentage of women working in Canada has increased from 42% to almost 60% in the last 30 years. It should be pointed out, however, that there is a lower rate of female employment compared to male employment in all provinces of Canada. StatCan reports that women, despite considerable strides over the past 3 decades, are still less likely to be employed than men. As an extension of this, feminists don't think nice guys should stop being chivalrous. Feminists have nothing against the traditional role of the gentleman who open doors and pay for dinner. In fact, we encourage chivalry, but not when there is an expectation to get something out of it in return. Teach them to be chivalrous and kind to everyone, and to expect nothing in return. I've also been told that feminists are fighting for nothing, and that the big bad monster we're fighting against just doesn't exist. But let me tell you that feminism is fighting against things like the practice of female genital mutilation that is still practiced in 29 countries and can happen to girls as young as 5 months old. Feminism is fighting against the fact that over 120 countries don't have laws against marital rape and allow the existence of child brides, some as young as 6 years old. For the women affected by the gender wage pay gap, Canada having the 7th largest wage pay gap in the 34 countries of the OECD. And no matter how you cut it, no matter how you look at it, the wage gap exists. When comparing annual earnings by gender, for both full-time and part-time workers, women workers in Canada earn an average of 66.7 cents for every dollar earned by men. The large discrepancy indicates that more women work part-time, and part-time workers earn less than full-time workers. But when comparing full-time workers, it's 72 cents to the dollar. And when comparing hourly wages by gender, including part-time workers, women earn an average of 87 cents for every dollar earned by men. We're also fighting for the people who want to enter certain positions in the workforce, but are not chosen because of their sex or race. For example, even though more women enter university than men, and there is an almost equal representation of women and men at lower professional levels, only 27.5% of senior managers in higher education and 20.5% of professors in the UK are women. Only 1.1% of senior managers in education and 1.4% of professors in the UK are Black and minority ethnic women. This isn't good news for someone like me, an Asian woman wanting to go into the sciences. Because based on these facts, people like me are predicted to be underrepresented and effectively set up for less success right from the get-go. And I don't know about you, but they seem like very real problems to me. It's not just about microaggressions. It's about fighting to give voices to the people who don't or even can't have one. It's about fighting to provide everyone the equal control over their bodies, family, and work. I want to emphasize that it's not really about gender, not exclusively anyway. Women, and when I say women, I mean any minority demographic, want to be treated the same as men, not because it's a matter of gender, but because it's a matter of being treated like an equal human being. Feminism and egalitarianism mean exactly the same thing. They're synonymous. They're interchangeable. A lot of people believe that feminism needs a rebranding, and that name needs to be changed to appropriately accommodate true feminist ideals. But I disagree. I think the word feminism is fine as it is. We just have to make it okay to say. If someone chooses to use the word, it should be okay. The F word is okay. And just like Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says, don't be afraid of the word feminism. Men and women should use it to describe themselves. Like him, we should keep saying that word until there is no more reaction. Thank you for your time. Thank you.